things are anonymous. He, however, who fears nothing, neither earthquakes nor inundations, as it is said of the Celtae, will be an insane person, or one who has no sense of pain. But he who exceeds in confidence respecting things of a terrible nature, will be audacious. The audacious man also appears to be arrogant, and a pretender to fortitude. Such, therefore, as the brave man is with respect to things of a terrible nature, such does the audacious man wish to appear, and hence in those things in which he is able, he imitates him. On this account also, many audacious persons have timidity united with audacity. For in consequence of their audacity when danger is not imminent, they do not endure things of a dreadful nature when they occur. But he who exceeds in fearing is timid. For he fears what he ought not, and in such a manner as he ought not to fear. And all such things are consequent to him. But he is deficient in confiding. As he exceeds, however, in pains he is more apparent. The timid man, therefore, is hopeless, for he fears all things. But the brave man is the contrary. For confidence is the province of the man who hopes for the best. The timid, the audacious, and the brave man, therefore are conversant with the same things, but they are differently affected towards them. For the timid and the audacious man exceed and are deficient, but the brave man is disposed towards things dreadful in the middle way, and in such a manner as is proper. And audacious men, indeed, are precipitate, and wish to encounter dangers before they arrive, but when they arrive they are deficient in fortitude. Brave men, however, are ardent in encountering danger, and before it arrives they are quiet. As we have said, therefore, fortitude is a medium conversant with those things of a dreadful nature, and such as pertain to confidence, which we have mentioned. And it chooses and endures them, because it is beautiful to do so, or not to do so is base. But to die in order to avoid poverty, or on account of love, or something painful, is not the province of a brave, but rather of a timid man. For it is effeminate to fly from things laborious, and such do not endure death because it is beautiful to endure it, but in order to fly from evil. Fortitude, therefore, is a certain thing of this kind. CHAPTER 8. Other kinds of fortitude also are denominated according to 4 modes. And in the first place, indeed, political fortitude, since this most resembles fortitude truly so called. For citizens appear to endure dangers on account of the punishments and disgrace inflicted by the laws, and also on account of the honours they confer. Hence the most brave men appear to be found among those with whom the timid are disgraced, and the brave are honoured. Homer likewise introduces such persons, as for instance Diomed and Hector. Shall proud Polydamas before the gate proclaim, his counsels are obeyed too late, which timely followed but the former night, what numbers had been saved by Hector's flight? And Diomed, But what grief should haughty Hector boast, I fled inglorious to the guarded coast. This species of fortitude, however, is especially similar to the before mentioned, because it is produced from virtue. For it is generated through shame, and a desire of the beautiful in conduct. For it is through a desire of honour, and a flight from disgrace, which is dishonourable. Those also may be ranked among brave men, who are compelled to be brave by their rulers. But they are inferior to the former, i.e. the politically brave, because their conduct is not produced through shame, but through fear, and is not the consequence of flying from what is base, but from what is painful, for they are compelled by their masters. Thus Hector, On rushed bold Hector, gloomy as the night, Forbids to plunder, animates the fight, Points to the fleet, for by the gods, who flies, who dares but linger, by this hand he dies. No weeping sister his cold eye shall close, no friendly hand his funeral pile compose. Who stops to plunder at this signal hour, the birds shall tear him, and the dogs devour. And the generals scourge the soldiers if they desert their ranks. The same thing also is done by those who dispose their troops before fosses, and adopt other methods of the like kind, for all these employ force. It is necessary, however, not to be brave from necessity, but because it is beautiful to be so. But experience about particulars appears to be a certain fortitude. Whence also Socrates thought that fortitude was a science. And, indeed, there are other such persons in other things. But soldiers are such in warlike affairs. For it seems that there are many vain terrors in war, of which soldiers are especially aware. Soldiers, therefore, appear to be brave, because other persons do not understand the nature of these alarms. In the next place, they are especially able, from their experience, to attack their enemies without receiving any injury themselves. They also know how to guard against and strike their enemies, in consequence of being able to use their arms, and having armour of such a kind as is most excellent for the purpose of attacking, without being injured by their adversaries. They fight, therefore, like armed with unarmed men, and like athletes with those that are unskilled in athletic exercises. For in such like contests, not the most brave are the most adapted to fight, but those who are most strong, and those whose bodies are in the most excellent condition. But soldiers become timid when the danger is excessive, and they are deficient in numbers and warlike apparatus. For the merely skilful are the first that fly, but those who act bravely, according to political circumstances, die remaining at their post, as it happened at the Hermaeus, since to citizens flight is base, and death is more eligible than such a preservation. But the soldiers, in this battle at Hermaeus, encountered the danger at first, as thinking themselves superior to their enemies, but when they saw the full extent of the danger, they fled, dreading death more than disgrace. The brave man, however, is not a person of this description. Anger also is referred to fortitude, for men likewise appear to be brave on account of anger, just as wild beasts rush on those that wound them, because brave men also are irascible. Whence Homer says, quote, "Strength be to anger added, and his ardor and his wrath he roused, and pungent fury from his nostrils flowed, and his blood boiled." Close quote. For every thing of this kind appears to signify the energy and impulse of anger. Brave men, therefore, act on account of the beautiful in conduct, but anger co-operates with them. And savage animals act through the influence of pain, for they act because they are wounded or terrified, since if they are in a wood or in a marsh, they do not attack any one. Hence, those persons are not brave who are impelled to danger by pain and anger, foreseeing nothing that is dreadful, since thus asses also would be brave when they are hungry, for they cannot, even by blows, be driven from their pasture. Adulterers, likewise, perform many audacious deeds through their lustful desire. Those, therefore, are not brave who are impelled to danger through pain or anger. The fortitude, however, appears to be most natural, which subsists on account of anger, and which assumes deliberate choice, and that for the sake of which a thing is done, or the final cause. Men also when they are angry are pained, but are delighted when they take vengeance on the authors of their anger. Those, however, who act under the influence of these causes are indeed pugnacious, but not brave, for they do not act with a view to the beautiful in conduct, nor from the dictates of reason, but from the influence of passion. But they possess something similar to fortitude. Nor yet are those who are full of good hope brave, for in consequence of having frequently conquered, and conquered many, they are confident in dangers. But they are similar to brave men, because both these characters are confident. Brave men, however, are indeed confident for the reasons we have already assigned, but these because they fancy they are superior to others, and that they shall suffer no evil from their opponents. Those also that are intoxicated act after this manner, for they become full of good hope, but when they are frustrated of their expectations, they fly from danger. It is, however, the province of a brave man to endure things which are, and appear to be dreadful to men, because it is beautiful to do so.